Hello, Thursday. Yes, Eurozone PMI and GDP growth. The Eurozone going back to 2001 or 2002, at least 10 years anyway. And we can see generally it's above the 50 line or the 0 line. It's the same for PMIs, expanding over 50, contracting under 50. So besides the remains of the dot-com crash and the 9/11 wobble, things went very positive for many years, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the Great Recession came in and things obviously went to pud, but then things went back to normal and back to normal. It's the Eurozone. But you can see since the start of 2011, things have been on the down and down. So what are these two lines? The red line is the Eurozone Services PMI for the whole of the Eurozone. Services, the red line, and you can see that's well below 0 or 50, contracting. And the Eurozone Manufacturing PMI is the blue line, which is as well down in contracting territory. The Eurozone GDP, which is the sticky up and sticky down yellows, has already gone contracting, but will follow further down the services and manufacturing PMIs. This is kind of a follow-on from yesterday, and the rest of the world, like China, who want to sell things. When the United States is doing well, that's brilliant, and they can sell to America, and that's fabulous for them. But they've kind of built up more than that, and they need Europe going well as well. But the United States really isn't kicking on. It's doing blah, which is all right, but it's blah. So they'd really want Europe to be up and going for it, but it isn't. And this is going to cause dreadful problems to the new Politburo of China. Indirectly, but the Eurozone will directly get its own problems. This next chart, number 2, looks terrifically boring, but in fact, in its own way, it speaks an awful lot. This is actually Greece, according to the Troika. The Troika being Brussels, the ECB, and the IMF, who have gone in there and lent them money and told them what to do. And if they do what they're told what to do, some things will happen. And one of the things will happen, you will get GDP projections as per our projections. Well, the first projection was in 2007, before they went in, but it was their projection. And it's the red dotted line. The projection was you'll go from just under 4 to just over 2, and all will be well. But the black line is what actually happened in Greece. It went down to the 2008. It just went from just under 4 to just under 0, contracting, negative GDP. So the Troika said, well, yes, it'll go down to -1, but by 2010 it'll be positive again. But no. By 2009, the middle dotted line, the Troika said, well, yes, you'll drop down to -4 just for a couple of months, but then you'll be positive again in 2011. Well, maybe, but by 2010 they'd dropped down again. So the Troika said, well, yes, you'll continue to drop just a little, but by 2012 you'll be positive again. But they didn't. They just went straight down again. We're down to -7, and these are all compounding upon themselves. There was the just negative drop in 2008. There was the -4% drop in 2009. The -5% drop. These were all compounding on themselves, and they got down to -7. And the Troika are projecting, well, yes, you'll start going north again next week, and by 2014 you'll be positive again. Manufacturing, I think it was, numbers came out yesterday and they were down at -7.2. What would you think if you were Greek? these experts have told you what will happen if you do this. But you can imagine what happens. The experts will come in and say, well, you didn't do exactly as we said so. But it speaks volumes, that chart, I think, that mare's tail cirrus. Anyway, moving on to the United Kingdom. From the Office of National Statistics, whole economy average earnings and consumer prices annual growth rates. Basically what we've got here, in blue we've got pay settlements increases year over year, the percentage scale on the right, and they came in at the start of this, before the Great Recession 2007, pay increases were coming in something like 4%. The CPI, the inflation rate, was kicking in at about 2%. So the workers of the United Kingdom were getting ahead every year they were getting ahead by 2%. But by 2008 and 2009, things had kind of flipped over. And the gold line, the consumer price index, had got itself above the pay line. In other words, pay was not keeping up with prices increasing. And that's how it's been from 2009 through 2010, through 2011, and through to 2012. But they're just about getting together again now. So the wage increases are staying at about 2%, but the CPI inflation has come down to greet it. So at least the wage increases now are enough to keep up with inflation. Don't write to me and complain about that. Write to the Office of National Statistics. You'll find the link below. In the United Kingdom, people interested in that sort of thing will have taken note that Mervyn King from the Bank of England was being grilled yesterday, and it was all a bit strange. But this link is to the document he was talking about. It's quite a large document, and there's quite a lot in it. I found this one of the more interesting ones. In 2007, again before the Great Recession thing, we had the bank rate, that's the dark blue line. We're looking at the top left, but the bottom of the top left was the bank rate. So you've got the bank rate there, and you've got the various types of mortgages you can take out in pretty colours above. The light blue is the standard variable rate mortgage, which was the highest above the bank rate. So the bank rate was coming in roughly at 5, and the standard variable rate at about 7.5 at its furthest from the bank rate. In other words, 2.5% above the bank rate. And the other pretty colours were very close to the bank rate, really 1.5% above the bank rate for mortgages before the Great Recession. The bank rate, to be helpful for everybody, slammed to the deck at the end of 2008. So since for the whole of 2009, 10, 11 and 12, it's been slammed on the ground. But mortgages obviously haven't followed all that way down. The pretty coloured mortgages have stayed. They came down to, they've touched 3, but they're basically between 3 and 4.5, with the new 90% loan to value mixed rate mortgage staying up near 6. So where the differential was 1.5, 2 above the bank rate in the old days, the banks are charging 3.5, 4, 5% above the bank rate now. And we'll finish with this because it's in the same document, and I bumped into it again because it's worth pushing again, and for Windy, who might have missed it last time. Chart 1.12, loans to PNFCs and households. Basically, as far as I can find it, this is as close to bank lending as you can get. Most all bank lending goes for mortgages or to small companies, but mainly all to mortgages. And this goes back to 2004, and it's percentage change year on year, and everything was going swimmingly with 10% increases year on year, selling money year on year 10%. If it was a business, if it was a business on the stock exchange, the Bank of England would be very highly rated, with 10% increases every year. 2008 it all stopped, and basically sterling loans to PNFCs and households loaned to individuals has all slammed down to 0 or less than 0 increase year on year. It's holding at a certain rate, but it's not increasing at anywhere near the 10%. In fact, it's 10% off the 10% increases that it was in the good old days for the people that sell money. And as we know, for the money supply, that is not a great booster. This is why the Bank of England has to do other things. But are the other things that the Bank of England is doing being effective or not? That's it for today. Au revoir. Bye.